When I first started talking about Chicago earlier this season and how they should play like soldiers, become the soldiers of Chicago, I didn't know Jhon Durán was on the team. I never even heard of Jhon Durán. But when he played his first game, I can't remember who they played in his first game this season, and he scored 2 goals. I was wondering, who was that? I didn't even know the 18-year-old was on the team. And then I see his combination of size and athleticism and strength. He's tall, he's fast, and he's strong. I'm like, this guy has the potential. He could really become not only an MLS star, but this dude can become the global face of soccer. He has that potential. Because when I watch soccer, and not only MLS, whether it's Europe, Mexico, Central America, there's not a lot of tall, fast, and strong players in soccer in general. A lot of soccer players, they're average height, real thin. There's no physique. There's not a lot of physique. They're still skillful, but you don't see a strong statue. Most soccer players don't really look like gladiators. A lot of them look like young lads. A lot of them look like Ricky Puig and Carlos Vela, Garrett Bale, that kind of physique. You don't see a lot of guys with the physique of Jhon Durán. Tall, strong, and fast. Jhon Durán has the potential of becoming the LeBron James of the MLS. Now look, I don't know how long Jhon Durán is going to be in the MLS. He already publicly stated he doesn't want to be in the MLS for long. So he may be gone after the 2026 World Cup. He may be gone. But whatever the case is, this man has the potential of becoming the LeBron James of the MLS. The reason why I bring up LeBron James is not only because of his physique, but also LeBron James is minority owner of Liverpool, a team that's in a league where Jhon Durán ultimately wants to play. So when I say that I would love to see LeBron James become a mentor to Jhon Durán, this is bigger than his personal career in the MLS. This is bigger than his maturation and his growth. LeBron James can really help this man become a global icon because the potential is there. And I don't say that about a lot of MLS players and soccer players in general. I just don't say that a lot. That this guy right here, he can become not only the face of American soccer, but he can be the face of global soccer. Jhon Durán has that face. Lionel Messi, he's up there in age. He's getting ready. His career is going to be done soon. Ronaldo, he's up there in age. His career is going to eventually finish. Jhon Durán has the potential of being that guy. And with a mentorship with LeBron James, he can become even stronger. He can become even faster. And most importantly, more mature. The thing that I also noticed about Jhon Durán this season is that Jhon Durán hasn't really been happy in Chicago. He's been upset about a lot of things. And I don't know specifically what it is, but just seeing him constantly complaining to the refs, arguing with the players, Jhon Durán hasn't been happy. But last night, I saw a different Jhon Durán. I saw a Jhon Durán who was smiling. I saw a Jhon Durán who was laughing. I saw a Jhon Durán who looked like he enjoys playing in the MLS. And the person who deserves large credit is Brian Gutierrez. Excuse me if I said his name wrong. Brian Gutierrez. It looks like Jhon Durán has found his sidekick. No, his sidekick is not Shaqiri. Sorry. But Jhon Durán plays better with Brian Gutierrez. Both of them are from the same country, Colombia, and they just look free. They just look free. And it just looks like they're enjoying the game. Now, I'm not about to get on Chicago for potentially blowing that game because they're a young team and they're not making the playoffs. So it really doesn't matter if they would have blown the game. It wouldn't matter if they lost anyway. It's the end of the season. So Chicago, you're gonna have to make some tough choices. I don't know what Shaqiri's contract is looking like, but you're gonna have to choose. The team cannot be for Shaqiri and Jhon Durán. You're either gonna choose to go with Shaqiri or you're gonna go with Jhon Durán. You're gonna go with the young guy that has potential of becoming a global icon, or you're gonna go with the older guy who was overpaid and he's up there in age. Because for me, if you're the highest paid player in the league, you cannot be injury prone and you cannot be sitting down at home during the playoffs. You cannot be the highest paid player in the league and be incapable of taking your team to the playoffs or leading your team to the playoffs. That is just unacceptable. So Joe Mansueto, you're gonna have to choose. You're either rolling with Jhon Durán or you're gonna roll with Shaqiri. But you can't roll with both because Jhon Durán doesn't really play well when Shaqiri on the field with him. From what I'm seeing, the two of them just don't gel. They just don't gel together. But he and Brian Gutierrez, with Jhon Durán's 18, Gutierrez is 19. Both of them are from the same country. Jhon Durán plays much better. And this is what Jhon Durán was missing throughout the season. A reliable sidekick. And now that you're going to have both of them going into next season, Chicago, I'm expecting you to make the playoffs. This year, the expectation was to make the playoffs, but it was just too much uncertainty. But now, after watching you for a full season, I know what the issue was. Defense started off pretty good. I don't know what happened towards the end of the season, but you need guys who can score. And that's one of the reasons why you're going into these losing streak. You started the season off pretty good with your defense, but defense can only take you so far. Eventually, you're going to have to score. And you being incapable of scoring throughout most parts of the season, that's why you're not making the playoffs. But now we reached to the end of the season. We had a full season, and we found a solution to your problem. Jhon Durán and Gutierrez needs to be starters throughout all the next season. And if you're going to choose to roll with Shaqiri, you're going to lose more games. We already know what Shaqiri can do. Like I said, he's an overpaid, older player who should not be the highest paid player in the league. You can't be the highest paid player in the league if you're injury prone and you're incapable of leading your team to the playoffs. And as a result of the game last night, I am on board with Ezra Hendrickson returning as manager in 2023. At first, I got so frustrated with Chicago. I just didn't think they were helping Jhon Durán mature and they weren't handling him correctly. So I got frustrated and I was thinking that coaching was the problem. But it looked like Chicago's getting it together now. So in my book, for me, Ezra Hendrickson is no longer on the hot seat. I'd like to see him again in 2023. If I was in charge, that game last night, I see a lot of potential now. Because Chicago has finally figured out its offensive issue. Defense hasn't really been a large problem throughout the season. The problem has been their incapability of scoring. And it looks like The solution has been found. Jhon Durán and Brian Gutierrez. Batman and Robin. So like I said, similar to Atlanta, Joe Mansueto, you gotta make some tough decisions. I don't know what the Shaqiri contract is looking like right now, but it's time for you to move on. Similar to how it's time for Atlanta to move on from Joseph Martinez, Chicago, it's time for you to move on from Shaqiri. He and Jhon Durán on the field, they don't have that same kind of chemistry as Brian Gutierrez and Jhon Durán. And you don't put an overpaid older guy over a young star. You don't do that, Joe Mansueto. Because look, as I said about Atlanta, I'll say this about you, Chicago. We need every major market, every team that's in a big market, big populated city, we need to see you in the playoffs every year. So next year, we need to see Atlanta and Chicago in the playoffs, along with Philly and NYCFC, DC United. I'm going to talk more about DC United in the offseason. So Joe Mansueto, Chicago Fire, last night revealed to you what makes Jhon Durán happy. You need to make sure in 2023, and if Jhon Durán is around in 2024, that Jhon Durán stays happy. Do everything you can in your power to see us to make Jhon Durán smile. When Jhon Durán is smiling, when Jhon Durán is happy, when Jhon Durán is dancing, when Jhon Durán is celebrating with his teammates, Chicago plays better. When Jhon Durán is angry, when Jhon Durán is sad, when Jhon Durán is pouting, Chicago does not play good. You need to do everything in your power to make Jhon Durán happy. He is your young star, and he and Brian Gutierrez is going to lead you to the playoffs in 2023. But you have to make them happy. Don't put overpaid older guys over young potential superstars. Don't do that, Chicago. So Chicago, we found a solution to your problem. You, Ezra Henderson, next year by this time, you should be a top 5 seed. No lower than a 5th seed next year, Chicago, for the MLS Cup playoffs in 2023. No lower than a 5th seed. And then in 2024, we need to see you, Chicago, in the CCL. We need to see Jhon Durán lead you to a U.S. Open Cup title, CCL title, MLS Cup title, Supporter Shield title. The potential is there. The man is tall, fast, and strong. There is nobody in the MLS that can slow down Jhon Durán. Jhon Durán is stronger than every defender in the MLS. He is stronger and more physical than every defender in the MLS. There's nobody in the MLS who can slow down Jhon Durán. And it's going to get to a point next season where guys are going to double team Jhon Durán. I'm telling you it's going to happen. This is why he has a good sidekick. Anyways, I don't want to go over my 15-minute, but Chicago, we found a solution to your problem. Joe Mansueto, you know what you need to do in the offseason. You're either going to roll with Jhon Durán or you're going to stay with an overpaid old guy in Shaqiri. You know what you need to do, Joe Mansueto. Let's make it happen.